You must have seen wild animals attacking humans, but today's story is completely the opposite. The story begins in a jungle where some hunters sneaked in and stole a lion cub. They locked the cub in a cage and were transporting it in an airplane. Then we see a 25-year-old girl named Alma who loved animals. One day, she decided to visit an island. Actually, that island belonged to her grandfather. Many years ago, her grandfather had adopted her, and after his death, Alma inherited this island. On the island, Uncle Joe welcomed her. There was a beautiful sea nearby, and she decided that she would spend the night on the island. That night, while watching her grandfather's videos, Alma became emotional. In one video, her grandfather told her about a female wolf named Snow, who had mysteriously arrived on the island years ago, and over time, they became best friends. He advised Alma to find Snow too and befriend her. That very night, the plane carrying the lion cub crashed on the island due to bad weather. Hearing the loud crash, Alma got scared and went outside, but since the island was huge, she didn't find anything. The next morning, two young men, Charles and Eli, arrived on the island. They set a trap to capture Snow because they owned a wolf park. Snow got trapped, but with her cleverness, she escaped before Charles and Eli could return. She swam across to the other side of the island, where she met Alma. At first, Alma was scared, but then she remembered her grandfather's words and began to pet Snow. A little later, Alma reached the plane crash site. Luckily, the lion cub was unharmed. It had fallen into a bird's nest, but the bird pushed it out and the cub landed right into Alma's arms. Alma took the cub home. At the same time, Snow also came home with her own pup. Seeing these three adorable animals together, Alma was overjoyed. She immediately called Uncle Joe, but he told her it wasn't safe to keep dangerous animals at home and insisted that she hand them over to the zoo. He also warned her that zoo staff would surely come looking for the missing lion cub. And that's exactly what happened the next day. Animal control officers arrived, but Alma lied and said she hadn't seen any lion cub. When she returned home, she was delighted to see that Snow was feeding both her pup and the lion cub. Alma named the wolf pup Jack and the lion cub Dreamer. As time passed, Jack and Dreamer became best friends. Uncle Joe was still worried that these wild animals might harm Alma, but months went by peacefully. Alma would take the animals around the island and play with them at her grandfather's favorite spots. But one day, misfortune struck. While Alma was away for a piano audition, people from the wolf park invaded the island and captured Snow. Alma's audition was successful, but when she returned home, she was devastated to find her house ransacked and Snow missing. Now Alma had to feed both Jack and Dreamer alone, so she quit her piano job. Uncle Joe came again and angrily told her to sell the animals to the zoo, but Alma reminded him of her grandfather's last wish, that she live with the animals. She also said zoos would only torture them. Finally, Uncle Joe understood and hugged. A year passed. Alma loved Jack and Dreamer deeply, and the animals loved her back. Uncle Joe brought them meat from the city, but he was afraid of going near them. Again, he warned Alma that living with wild animals was dangerous, but she refused to give them up. One day, when Uncle Joe visited again, Jack approached him. Alma ran to stop Jack, but she tripped on a rock, fell, and hit her head, becoming unconscious. Jack and Dreamer tried desperately to wake her up. They cried out loudly for help, but no one came. That night, they stayed beside her, keeping her warm until morning. Uncle Joe, worried when Alma didn't answer his calls, arrived with animal control officers, fearing she had been attacked. But when he found her unconscious and the animals protecting her, he regretted his actions. The doctor later said Alma would not have survived the cold night if Jack and Dreamer hadn't kept her warm. Still, animal control captured Jack and gave him to Charles and Eli. Dreamer was sold to Alan, a zoo owner. Alan was cruel and often beat his animals, But his son, Rafa, was kind-hearted. Rafa soon befriended Dreamer. But Alan began drugging Dreamer and forcing him to perform in the circus, making a fortune from him. Dreamer, who had lived happily on the island, was now tortured. Rafa often tried to comfort him. Meanwhile, when Alma awoke in the hospital, she immediately asked about Jack and Dreamer. Uncle Joe reluctantly told her the truth. Heartbroken, Alma searched every circus in the city for Dreamer, but without success. Dreamer soon became famous as Star Lion. One day, his circus passed near the wolf park, and Jack recognized his childhood friend. Cleverly, Jack escaped his cage and freed Dreamer too. After so many months, the two reunited. Alan, furious at Dreamer's escape, grabbed his tranquilizer gun, but Rafa tried to stop him. Failing, Rafa followed his father. Soon, everyone learned that Jack and Dreamer were together, and the city declared a high alert. Charles and Eli revealed that they had fitted a tracker in Jack's body. With it, they and Alma tracked the animals into the forest. Alan attacked with his tranquilizer gun, but Jack shielded Dreamer and fell unconscious. Rafa quickly removed the tracker and gave Jack medicine to revive him. Later, Rafa secretly helped Alma and Eli find Dreamer and Jack. But before they could escape, the police arrived. Alma led the animals through a secret path. To reach the island, they had to cross a river. Jack swam quickly, but Dreamer was afraid of water and turned back. Soon, gunshots rang out in the forest. Alma thought Dreamer had been killed and broke down in tears. But suddenly, Dreamer appeared alive. He had only tricked the police to save his family. Alma, overjoyed, hugged him. Finally, Alma celebrated Jack and Dreamer's return by playing piano at a party. Her family was complete again. At the end, Alma shared the story of her beloved animals, touching everyone's hearts. So, what's your favorite wild animal? And would you ever want to keep one as a pet? Tell us in the comments. See you in the next video.